What's up? How you doing? This is G Koop, out here in Oakland, California. One half of G Koop and Oman, the online beat making series. You can see us on YouTube. What inspired me to get into music is take it back. We're going way back now because I can't remember a time when music wasn't an integral part of my life. I mean, my earliest memories are of sitting at the turntable listening to Sergeant Pepper and the Doobie Brothers and all my parents' rock records. And as I got older, I dug deeper into their collection and, delved into jazz and Miles Davis, who had a profound influence on me. I mean, but, the Beatles, probably my earliest musical influences still to this day. I mean, I've read books, seen movies, everything, you know what I'm saying? I studied their whole approach from recording to songwriting, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I had a yardstick and I had a strap that I had made from a piece of gimp wire or whatever. And I would be watching Eddie Van Halen, Hot for Teacher on what do we have back? We had V66 where I grew up. I didn't have MTV and VH1 wasn't around yet, so I would watch on V66. I would watch Hot for Teacher and I would do my air guitar with it. But as I definitely came up as a guitar player first, all throughout being a kid in high school. I was definitely shedding guitar and rock and hard rock or my classic rock. Those were my primary influences, and then got deeper into rap. Always stayed true to classic rock and all that old stuff. So I definitely go from the past all the way to now with some of those musical influences. I remember when I heard Public Enemy and Anthrax do Bring the Noise together. That was really a gap bridging event for me, and that sent me deep trying to figure out Public Enemy and what that music was all about. And I remember I had the Apocalypse 91 poster on the wall. Shout out Chuck D, homie. And then aside from that, Beastie Boys. And then I remember because I was in that era of like the end of glam rock turning to grunge music, and then that turned to gangster rap. So I kind of feel like one day we all had like long hair and we were headbangers at the Guns N' Roses Metallica concert, and then Dr. Dre, The Chronic came out, and then everybody smoking weed and you know what I'm saying, backwards hats and gangster rap. So it was like I remember that point in culture, like in popular culture at that time when it was like a big shift where I was at least. I remember The Chronic had us wide open as far as like all the West Coast. I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up outside of Boston. So, for that music to travel all the way out there and have a profound influence on me, that speaks to like its reach. But I remember, leaving school and going to the walking to the record store from school to get Doggy Style the day it came out. I feel like Doggy Style came out the same day as the new Lords of the Underground record. And I bought Doggy Style. My boy, he got the Lords of the Underground, and we went back and just listened to that shit like back to back, like for hours, And it's crazy to me because I feel like, I mean, in a lot of ways, everything's come full circle because I'm really deep into the P-Funk roots right now. I mean, at that time, I definitely dug deep and tried to figure out like where that music was coming from, and that's when I discovered George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, and now it's like I'm really digging deep in that music out of a collaboration with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. So it's like I'm learning where those guys were learning from back then. And so I feel like, the legacy just kind of keeps getting deeper rooted into me, I guess. Getting to dig deeper into some more classic music and to listen to Parliament or, Stevie Wonder in the Pro Tools Master. You know what I'm saying? And be able to dissect the way that those guys made records. The Beastie Boys, like to just be able to dig and go behind the scenes a little bit and see those records in their master form and be able to like follow the approach that was made and the thought process. That's really inspiring to me, you know what I'm saying? But as far as music that's coming out these days and moments, me being engaged in like the now culture of hip hop and music, I guess it was really cool to get to play at Rock the Bells. That was exciting, and I mean just to be able to like hang out at George Clinton's house and go into his studio and see his legacy and kind of be inspired by all that music, and to be able to create new music with him and that whole band. That's super exciting for me, and just definitely keeps me engaged and keeps me trying to make new shit. When I studied at Berklee College of Music, it was all about just being the best guitar player. That I always thought, I was gonna like be in some band or something and just play on stage every night. But at a certain point after that, I moved out to California, and I was a working musician out here and playing mostly jazz, some funk gigs and stuff, some soul stuff. But I don't know, it's something in me was like, you have music that you need to get out of your head, and fuck other musicians and having to rely on them. Because that's the challenge about being in a band and being a successful working musician at performing, is that you have to juggle all the other people, you know what I'm saying, and support a band. And that's a real, like, that's a deal breaker. If you can do it or not, then you're going to be either in that or not. But I think at a certain point, I just got a computer and started digging into Pro Tools. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, all this music from the 90s when I was growing up, I need to really dissect that stuff and see how that was made. So, I went back and really dug deep into all the records that I listened to when I was growing up. Tribe Called Quest and De La and all that whole era, and Busta. And it's like a lot of the New York stuff, and definitely some West Coast stuff too. But it was like about 10 years ago that I was like, okay, maybe I can do rap beats. So I kind of just started to really study that stuff and dig deep into how that music was made. And I discovered that a lot of it came from samples. So at a certain point in time, actually, I got to give props to Jake One, because he was the first one that was like explaining to me how he did it. He made beats with musicians replaying samples. And then that, by having the sample tracked out and separate, it gave him more freedom to reinterpret it. And that way you're going to get a much more original creation than if you just sampled, something from a 2-track. Not that that's not dope too, but there's different ways to do it. So then I started to like do replays, and I did that for a multitude of producers and musicians and different projects, artists. And I still do a lot of work like that. But, then I was like, well, what if I create some imaginary song in my head and treat that like a sample and find the best 15 seconds of it in my head and create that part and sample that. So it's like nowadays, when a lot of times when I'm in the lab, I'm not even really so much thinking about making a beat. I'm trying to go for the imaginary song that you would have sampled to make the beat. And then I can make a dozen beats, because I can reinterpret stuff for days and days. But, that was a revelation to figure out that, like, there's a million ways to do it. And sometimes the fact that I start off taking that old school approach of just making a record, like I'm not even thinking about beats or hip hop or anything, I'm just making a record. So that kind of makes more profound music sometimes. As far as like big challenges to overcome, the main thing I would say is just to be able to make a living doing music. It's hard to be able to say that you make a living doing music, and I've been fortunate. I mean, certainly I paid my dues. Like, I studied at Berklee College of Music. I have a bachelor's degree in music and improvisation and jazz, so I've definitely dug deep into music theory. And I mean, I kind of had a trial by fire just trying to engineer my own records, so that kind of taught me how to engineer and produce for myself. So, overcoming obstacles like technical challenges has been, exciting and difficult, but definitely has made me a greater person, and definitely just paying dues, like being able to say that I've, kind of climbed up the rungs of the music industry ladder and am at a stable place where I am today, trying to put together a proper facility to work out of, what I'm saying? I've definitely fine-tuned a space now where like I'm able to make the kind of records that I want to make in the space and hear them the way that I need to hear them for them to come out their best. When we started to do this online beat making series, me and myself and my partner, Oman Graham Richards, who I've had a collaboration with musically for 15 years, it was like, okay, well, are we about to just give away all the secrets of how we do this? And, you know, like, are we just showing a side of the game that's going to make it easier for everybody to just add water and do their own thing? And I kind of had to think long and hard about that, but I decided, you know, it's like, what makes me unique is my ear, you know what I'm saying? I put my ear in the music that I hear in my head into my music every day. So nobody else can get inside my head and hear the music that I hear. Nobody can know where I'm trying to go with my music. So it's like, what makes me unique is just my approach, you know, the fact that I, you know, can mix in the live instruments with the newer stuff, that I can, you know what I'm saying, maybe take elements of a pre-existing composition and flip it into something completely new, and, you know, but I'm always striving to keep myself on my toes and to try different things that, you know, will keep me excited about what I'm doing and trying to do different stuff. What speaks for me the most is the mass quantity of my body of work, you know what I'm saying? I've stayed, since I kind of got ushered into this thing and, you know, had some opportunities to work on some music that, you know, I thought people were going to hear and was going to make it to the masses, actually, as opposed to people that are just making music in their basement or whatever, and, you know, maybe put it on their little SoundClick page, whatever. You know, I'm not hating on anybody, because it's a beautiful thing to be able to express yourself and to be able to get anyone to listen to what you do. But you know, I've not stopped. I do this every day, all day. So it's like the large catalog of music that I put out there, I think, speaks for itself. And as far as the varied styles and just, you know, people are gonna say, like, that dude did a lot of different stuff, and, you know, whatever. I mean, people are gonna ask certain other people, and they're gonna say, hey, whatever challenge we threw at him, he went for it. You know what I'm saying? And he probably learned something throughout the process. It's like, you know, I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, and as a result, I've been exposed to a lot of great experiences and like different types of music that I had never dreamed I would have gravitated towards when I got into this. But it's still exciting to be able to hear different stuff and be like, well, how can I represent that sound, and how can I, like, be influenced by it? Because I try not to hate on any kind of music, man. I try to like keep it all in perspective and, you know, be listening to everything and let it all kind of seep through my brain one way or another. You know, as far as, you know, what inspires me, aside from, you know, these things musically and all the things that I'm involved in my career, you know, big shout out to all my loved ones that, you know, helped me along to this journey from the start to where I am. And, you know, I couldn't be who I am without the people that support me and my team, my family, and my loved ones. So, you know, for sure, shout out to all them. And, you know, definitely the life experience is where this music comes from. So, you know, if you feel the music, it's because, you know, I had to pull it from somewhere. And I'm out here, you know, experiencing everything day by day. So everything that happens gets put into the art.